Good evening, good evening. It's that time. Brian Johnson, welcome to my almost nightly broadcast. Barely made it home in time. My daughter had karate belts, promotions. Made it home by the skin on my teeth if I have any. So, if this is your first time hopping on to any of my broadcasts, just type a yes, and I am super enthusiastic to have you here. If you are a normal attender on my broadcast, I appreciate you just as much, and I'm grateful for you. And tonight we're going to be getting into a really interesting topic, and I have absolutely no notes, which is my preference. I like to just freestyle it and let God do whatever He says He's going to do and allow Him to present some information to you. What's up, Audrey Nicole? Through me to support you. What's up, Sally? So tonight's conversation is going to be on depression, how to recognize it, and how to conquer it. So if you are, what's up, Calvé? If you are finding yourself in a state of depression, having thoughts of not sure how to move on and what to do in life, definitely I invite you to get your notepad. If you're watching me from your computer, you could actually take your phone and hit record. And my connection is weak again. I'm tired of that. Let's see if we can adjust this. So I figured tonight, hopefully my phone will go. I watched the replay last night and it was fun. So here's just a little bit of stuff. Like if this is your first time, like I said, type a yes. What's up, Alyssa Morales? You look like a new person. I appreciate you. And I would love for you and really appreciate it if you would share my broadcast, because my mission in life is to serve 200 million people, and you are one of them. My commitment to you is to show up fully as Brian Johnson. That's the only person I know how to be, and so you can bet that I will show up as myself, and I encourage you to do the same for you. And just a little short, never been weak signal on my side. Perfect. What's up, Courtney Lavender? How are you? Hey, Alyssa. Courtney, it's been a long time. Courtney knew me back when I was barely lucky to be alive. Canceled, blessed to be alive from partying so much. So things are quite different. Hey, it's good to see your smiling face, Courtney. So just going to give you all a little bit of background on myself. Keeping it short because this is not about me. This is about you, and I think it's important for you to understand where I'm coming from so you can connect with me better and understand that I'm not full of shit. And what I'm sharing with you, I have been through experience and broke through and conquered myself in order for me to be able to show you the way. So I'm currently 38 years old. I started doing the health and wellness deal when I was 7 years old. I had a gym membership to World's Gym in the 5th grade, where I used to work out with my older brother. My older brother literally passed away about a year and a half ago now, so a lot has changed. What's up, Aaron, Diana? And really the purpose of this is I have well over 100,000 hours invested in this stuff, and it's not because I have to, it's because I chose to, and it's because I love to geek out on. This is not work for me. I mean, I get to sit here and share my message with you to help you and support you on your journey, and I make my career out of this and take care of my family and that, and I don't think I could have asked for a better way to invest my time with you. So I'm grateful that you've actually taken the time, and I'm honored that you would share it with me. And I would appreciate if you shared it with your family members and the people that are in your news feeds, because this topic tonight is going to make a massive impact. Because I know what the information is going to come up. I never know what's going to come. Shows up through me and shares with you, and whatever comes out, right? So well over 100,000 hours invested in this. I've worked with over 40,000 people, and more than that. That's not even counting social media. I get to support people with cancer and with Parkinson's and AIDS and military people and help them to understand what's going on and how to take where they're at in their life and how to maximize where they're trying to go by getting clear with who they are, what they're looking to create, and how they can go about doing it. How do you record a live broadcast? I don't know. If you're watching it from your computer, then you can go ahead and hit record on your phone if you wanted to. Best thing for you to do would be to go to my website, thinkgreatloseweight.com. and register your little email on there, and I send out the replays. If you're waiting for yesterday's replay, I could not get it to download yet from my computer, so just hang tight and I will get that out to you. I only have literally about 25 minutes to invest tonight, so we are going to get to work. And here's the deal. Let's take a breath. And let's get present. So depression. This is a very hot topic. A lot of people are depressed. There's a lot of people who are wandering around out in the world who are hopeless, who are not understanding who they are, where they're trying to go, and just really not loving themselves. Because here's the bottom line. I can assure you, coming from someone who's been 250 pounds 3 times, who's been in jail, who's been almost dead multiple times, I can tell you that there was multiple times for multiple years that I did not love myself. Nothing wrong with that. It's just where I was. And until you can be authentic with yourself, meaning authentic being no matter what it is and what the feeling is, being authentic and allowing yourself to A, feel it, B, name it, and give yourself full permission to be in that moment. Because literally, if we are not acknowledging where we are and who we are and what we are feeling emotionally, we're not even functioning from our current reality. If you're not functioning from your current reality, there's no way in the world you're going to be able to change what you're experiencing into what you're desiring to experience by changing who you are as a person, because you're not even functioning from who you are actually at this moment in time. So until you're really real and giving yourself, like Garrett White would say, real, raw, and relevant, until you are honest and being authentic with yourself, nothing else matters. Okay? And that can be pretty painful. And I assure you, it's not near as painful as it will be wasting the rest of your life and the rest of your days and the rest of your time not being honest with yourself and living a half-assed life because you're not willing to come clean with who you are and where you're trying to go. I assure you that's going to be more painful. So here's some Tony Robbins for you. There's 2 things that go on. When people make decisions, we have 2 situations. We have A, pleasure, and we have B, pain. Most people will push away from pain. Every time. We're wired that way. There's nothing wrong with, there's nothing wrong with you. We are wired to push away from pain. Okay? Now, in that moment, if you can look and say, all right, well, this decision I don't want to make because I feel pain. In that moment, if you can stop, take a breath, center yourself, breathe for a moment, and give yourself permission to relax and be present, and say, you know what? Yes, I feel pain right now. And I'm not reading anyone's comments right now because I'm going to rip out this content and then we'll talk and answer questions. If I can just allow myself to experience the pain of whatever decision I'm attempted or whatever decision I get to make in life, if I can just feel the pain for a moment and ask myself, okay, just what if I get curious and I look and see what's on the other side of the fence to this pain that I could or could not be experiencing? What's the pleasure? Because I assure you, there were many times growing up in my early 20s that I did not want to face the pain. So I numbed it through all kinds of the world's greatest numbing, from food to partying to meaningless activities to all kinds of stuff, right? And here's what I assure from you. I tell you this. When I was really giving myself permission to be authentic with myself and say, you know what? Let's be honest, Brian. How much pain are you really feeling right now? Hey, can you do that in the other room for me, please? Thank you. I love you. You're distracting me at the moment. Love you. If I can just sit there and look at this and say, okay, what is this truly costing me right now? What's the pain? Yes, I don't like the way that I feel. Yes, I'm not happy with the choices that I'm making. Yes, I'm not happy with where I'm at and where I'm going in the trajectory of my life if I don't make any changes. Thank you. Love you. And what if I decide to get honest with myself and decide if I truly love myself and I give myself permission to forgive myself, what's on the other side of this fence that I am not wanting to hop over. So I sat there for a little while. I did some research. I did some really, truly asking myself some questions, and finally came down to some really hardcore answers. Because where I was at in my life, I was suicidal. I was 250 pounds. I was partying. I was grateful to be alive, and I actually wasn't, and I am now, because I know that God was sparing me for this specific moment to share with you right now whatever comes out of my mouth to support you on your journey. Because I assure you, if you're suicidal, it's not worth it. It's not worth killing yourself. I assure you. I have had multiple thoughts, guns, the whole 9 yards. It's not worth it. Whatever it is you're going through, I assure you, your mess can turn into your messages if you give yourself permission to recommit to your life. And you give yourself permission to forgive yourself for whatever you may be holding on to. As human beings and high-level thinkers, which you all are, we can have an ability to crap on ourselves and not give ourselves permission to forgive ourselves and beat ourselves up over and over and over, when instead, if we could just give ourselves permission to forgive ourselves for whatever we're holding on to and give ourselves permission to get out of our own way, you will be amazed at what can happen. I'm a living proof, because literally in 2006 is when I went to jail for 7 months. Yep, 7 months I went to jail. 3 months I wasted, 4 months I invested. When I say 4 months I invested 4 months because I was hardcore into my Bible and Scripture and my relationship with God. And if you would have ever told me that, hey, Brian, in 2016, you're going to be changing the world by doing what you do best, I would have said, man, you're full of shit. I didn't know how to do anything when I got out of jail. I was so scared. I didn't know how to make money. I didn't know who was going to hire me because of all the felonies that I had. I had all kinds of stories going on. Now, you may say, you know what, Brian? You are screwed up. Yes, I am, and I'm forgiven. My question to you is what stories are you telling yourself to hold yourself back from whatever it is that you can do? I'm not telling you that I'm any better. I'm just telling you, and I have been in your shoes. If you're telling yourself stories, I've been there. Matter of fact, I told myself stories for 6 years that nobody would want to hire me because of my background. And you know what? That was the biggest blessing that could have ever happened to me. And I tell you this one. If it wasn't for doors being closed on me in my own mind, and me thinking that nobody would have ever hired me, if it wasn't for that, I would have never developed myself and put myself into a category of my own by reinventing myself and being able to provide amazing value and content and support and just amazing information to be able to support myself, to get my head out of my ass first, because if I wouldn't have done this myself, there's no way I would have been able to share it with you. No way. If you caught my training last night, you will know that the only way to save anyone is to put the mask on yourself first. Meaning I got to do everything that I'm sharing with you that I do and done to share any of this stuff. I have gotten to do all of it and been through the bottom rung multiple times. Shit, Chris just hopped on the phone. I was living with Chris when Riley was 2 years old, and I had no vehicle at all. Chris used to drive me around. He understands. I had to completely reinvent myself and figure out what it was that Brian was going to do. And honestly, I didn't know what to do. And I assure you this much, I still had my head plugged into Joel Osteen. I was going to church. I was committing myself. I was doing my tithing. I was doing what was necessary for me to thrive by allowing God to work through me and still allow Him to use me as a vessel to get where I needed to go. And I didn't know where I was going to end up at. I just knew I was going somewhere. I always knew at a young age that I would do big things. And I assure you, if you're getting challenged in life, and you're getting challenges and people coming up saying you can't do things, if you're getting haters, if you're getting that kind of stuff, there's a reason why that's happening to you. It's because the devil, the dark side, whatever you choose to use as a terminology, is using that to keep you down because he knows what's on the other end of that situation. And ultimately, you and I are the only ones that can keep us from moving forward. And I'll tell you this much. If it's painful moving forward, how much more painful is it staying the same? If you are staying the same, if you find yourself coasting in life, that typically means that you're going downhill. Sean Kokoska told me that one day, and I was like, that's amazing. I'm going to repeat that. If you find yourself coasting in life, that means you're typically going downhill. What's up, Susan? Shelly, a lot of you just popped on. I'm kind of in my zone right now. I acknowledge all of you, and I appreciate you. Right now, we're talking about my worst stories in life of being suicidal, being in jail, and being able to reinvent myself. And for the longest time, you guys, I was beating myself up. Completely beating myself up. And I assure you, I'm not recommending that you go into jail. And that the system is not set up for people to be successful. And thank God I have an amazing support system in my life. My parents, my mom and dad are extremely loving. Penny was extremely supporting. My brothers and sisters, Chris, all the people that knew and loved me and supported me. The people in your life, getting choked up. Choose to make this fun and easy. Having a moment. Hold on. All right, here we go. The people in your life are a direct reflection of who you are as a human being. This was not expected. Love you too, man. It's a good one. All right. So, back to where we were. If you find yourself around people who don't support you, you're not around the right people. I encourage you to find a support system of people that lift you up, that appreciate you, that see you through a lot of the filters and the personas and the characteristics and the things that most people don't see. Your true friends will see you through that, and they will help you to get to the other side. Now, my mom hops on while I'm crying. Mom, I love you. We're talking about my jail experience and my friends and my mom and dad being supportive and what it's like to be depressed and understand what it's like to be able to take all that information and take all those negative experiences and being able to shape them and allow them to turn into something of value to where God can take your messes and turn them into your messages if you give yourself permission to get out of your own way. Awesome. All right. I'm ready to roll. So now let's check it out. So now let's get into some factual things that you can use and understand now that I got my win back under me. I appreciate your support. I love each and every one of you, and I get to have a moment. And it's important for you to be able to have those and to be able to feel confident, loved, and supported, just to show up as yourself and be yourself. Appreciate it, Matt. So let's talk about this. You all heard me talk a lot about body language. And in my opinion and Chris's opinion, body language is the most powerful stuff I've ever experienced in my life. Like if you've ever heard me talk about my story of being suicidal and my coach figured it out when I was in class. So when I was in class, sitting in a room with about 20 people, and I'm sitting there, and there's a young lady who's talking next to me, and my coach is sitting there, and I'm scratching my arm like big time. And I walked up to my coach after class, and I was like, Coach, what does this and this mean? literally like 4 words out of my mouth, he asked me, how long have you had a death wish? Wow, it's impressive. He picked all of that up by 2 things. Language code, everything that comes out of our mouth is emotional information. None of it's wrong, it's just feedback. Okay? There are certain things that go on all the time. Right now, your body is giving off body language with itches and scratches. And since I'm talking about suicide and depression and fear and all that, I guarantee you 60 to 70% of you, your body is, I just can't see you. Because there's emotions that are flaring up. My emotions flared up. I know there's a lot of emotional tension on the call because of the information I'm talking about. And obviously you saw what happened to me just talking about and pushing through it. Body language is by far the most important and potent skill set I've ever learned. So here's some important things for you to remember. If you find yourself having a hard time getting up in the morning, if you find yourself being fearful and making decisions out of what I can and can't do, if you find yourself making decisions out of, I don't want to do this because I don't know if I'm going to make it, or if I'm going to fail, or if I'm going to do whatever, there's a good possibility you're functioning in fear. Here's the most important part. This is the most important part to the whole part of our conversation tonight. It's not about what's wrong ever. Matter of fact, I invite you to get rid of right and wrong, and I just invite you to take on what is. It's just feedback. That's all it is. Don't attach a right or a wrong to it. It's all feedback. And remember this. If you find yourself functioning in fear, you remember me talking about this yesterday. When your stomach's tight, that's fear, or you could be hungry. If you're talking about being emotionally literate, that is being able to utilize your body at any point in time during the day and recognize whether you have fear because your stomach is tight and know that you're not hungry, or to recognize that your chest and your throat's tight, that's sadness, or to recognize that your back and your neck is tight, that's anger. What's up, Greg? It is most important for you as a human being and being a person who is involved and committed to personal self-mastery, because you are, if you're on my call, I assure you, you've already made that commitment, or you would not be investing your time with me on this level. In order for you to thrive, you get to understand and connect with where you're functioning at any point in time and second during the day. If you do not understand that, you are not functioning to your highest capacity. You are functioning in your thinker, which is only 0.006% of the whole 100% of the pie, equating to your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Has anyone ever heard me talk about the elephant and the ant? You can answer, I'm still going to talk about it. The elephant and the ant. Gary Keller talks about it in one thing. The ant is our conscious mind. The elephant is our subconscious mind. Here's the story. The ant and the elephant are great friends. They're amazing friends, like Chris and I. And the elephant and the ant, it's a Saturday afternoon, and the ant is like, hey, Mr. Elephant, let's go hang out at the watering hole down there with the rhino and the hippo. The elephant's like, dude, let's do it. Sounds like an amazing idea. So the ant gets on the elephant. The ant has a sugar cane in his hand, and he's guiding the elephant through the rainforest, and they finally get to the watering hole. So they're hanging out, having a good time with the hippo and the other guy. And they're there for a couple hours. Everyone's having an amazing time. And all of a sudden, the elephant is like, hey, buddy, Mr. Ant, let's go over to this other hole where the other giraffe and the zebra is. And the other guy's like, no, I'd like to go to the other hole on the other side. Well, it seems now we have a conflict. And in this conflict, who do you think is going to win? The elephant or the ant? You're right. It's going to be the ant. Cancel. It's going to be the elephant. Now, the elephant is going to win that argument. The elephant is our subconscious mind. It's so much more powerful than our conscious mind. Now, you may say, Brian, what does all this mean? Here's what it means. What's up, Patricia? If you have unforgiveness, anger, hatred, resentment, not forgiving yourself, not loving yourself, if you have any of that stuff functioning on your elephant or your subconscious mind, it does not matter what you consciously think. Excuse me. Because your elephant is going to make decisions based off of that information. Now, here's the important part, even more so than that. Because whatever feeling you have functioning emotionally or on your elephant in your subconscious mind, that feeling is going to attract other like feelings in the universe, because everything is energetic, meaning energies attract each other. So if I have anger and I have hatred in my subconscious emotional body, what that means is this: I'm going to get more people, places, circumstances, situations, and events that create more anger in my life. Or depression, fear, anxiety, apathy, which is it's too hard. What I'm inviting you to consider is that you as a conscious creator have every opportunity, every availability to create what you choose to experience in your life. If you look around at the people, the places, the circumstances, the situations and events that show up in your life, whatever the feeling is that those create, that's what you are putting off subconsciously. Now that's a huge aha for me. It was a huge aha for me, because when I was being a knucklehead, before, in my early days, I would only attract knuckleheaded people doing the same ignorant stuff that I was. Now, fast forward to today, we have a much different experience. I could be in a mall or a public venue with 3,000 people, and I will run into the one person who is at the top of their game, changing the world, doing what they do best, and we will connect. That's just how it works. So what I invite you to consider and pay attention to is this: be authentic with yourself right now. Look around at your life. Look around at the people in your life. Look around at the experiences that you are experiencing. Look around at how you feel on a daily basis and ask yourself, is this my highest, best choice? Would I change anything? Or am I totally cool with where I'm at? You're the only one who can answer that truthfully and authentically. And I invite you to do this. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to show up and be your best consistently. And that means anytime you show up to be your best, there's going to be people in your life that are going to hold you back and say that you can't do it because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. Here's the deal. It's very important. Just be you and show up whatever that looks like for you. If they're going to be there, awesome. If they're not going to be there, awesome too. God's got someone better for you. Stop investing quality time with people who aren't on the same page with you. Doesn't mean you have to don't mean you have to completely disassociate with them. And find people who are going to support you, who are going to see your best, highest self consistently. Now, we got about a minute and 15. I'm going to share a couple of hot items with you real fast because I think they're extremely important for you to know, considering that what we've talked about tonight. Depression is fear. It's fear on a root level. The most important thing you can remember is this scriptural verse, not religion. This is scriptural law. Perfect love casteth out fear. One more time. Perfect love casteth out fear. What does that mean, Brian? That means this. When I notice that I feel fear and my stomach is tight, here's what I say. Oh, wow. I notice that I have some fear. Perfect. It's okay. I give myself permission to feel my fear. Down into my stomach. And I love my fear into my courage and my faith. And I give myself permission to move forward. Hopefully this was all information you could use. Covered a lot of stuff. Got 4 seconds left. Have an amazing night. Contact me if you need something. And remember, you don't make time for your wellness. You will make time for your illness. Later. Bye.